you mentioned how your background's not in comedy. Does that ever get frustrating if people like just think of you as like a funny guy and you're like, look, I'm Juilliard. I'm like king shit here.
King
I'm
shit.
not just the funny guy.
Well, first of all, I don't think of myself as king shit. But it's totally fine for other people to think. I think for a while I found it a little frustrating. I sort of learned to embrace it. And also I think I learned to come to terms with something that I think has always been true, which is that I've always just gravitated toward comedy. Whether I don't think I ever quite realized it or wanted to admit it, but even when I was doing dramas, I was always making jokes, and I was always finding everything I see. I see the humor in it. I see the satire in it, and my brain has just always worked that way since I was a kid. So it just was inevitable.
When you say like admit it though, is like, in your mind, and I guess in other actors' minds, is that considered lesser then? Like,
no. I just
to
think
me, comedy is like the end all be all. And I would be more proud to be a funny guy than a drama guy.
I think that's fair to ask it, because it almost does make it seem as though that's what I'm saying or that's what we're talking about. I think maybe when you think of like what's considered prestigious,
yeah.
Generally speaking, it's the dramas. It's
the same conversation you just had about Sunny, where it's just like for whatever reason they seem separate.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So I think in that regard, it's I guess it could be perceived by some as like quote unquote lesser than. But I mean, I think most people appreciate comedy, and I think people. You could make a strong argument that somebody who's really good at acting in comedy would also make a good dramatic actor, because it's almost like, I mean, to me the best comedic performers are the ones that are acting it in a very playing real objectives like an actor does, that they're coming from a place of real need for the character, and that's where the comedy comes from. And I mean, but I would like to do more drama, and I will in the future. I think it's going to be a little bit of an uphill climb, because you're
so goddamn funny.
Because I'm just so damn funny. No, you get pigeonholed a little bit, which I get. I've done it as a producer. I've been pitched people things, and I'm like, oh, that guy's not funny, and then I catch myself doing it. I'm like, well, I don't know that. How the fuck do I know if this guy's funny or not? Just because he's done a bunch of dramas.
What's a role, a drama role out there right now that you think you would have crushed, you would have liked to have? Film or TV?
I don't think that way. I think I think when I first moved out to Hollywood and started acting consistently, I felt like I saw more actors in that were maybe my contemporaries, or the people I would be competing for roles against, and thought like, that guy's not that good. Why is this guy working all the time? But most of the time, especially these days, I don't find that to be the case. I find that like a lot of my contemporaries, like the guys that are really like sort of big stars or really well respected actors who work all the time, that are my age and would be maybe playing the roles that I would be playing if I could get them, are all really, really good. They're really great at what they do. So I get a little frustrated if I see somebody who's not that good. But not if they do.
Give me a name.
No. Tempting. But I'm talking about. I'm not even talking about like somebody who I would see in something and it's like once or twice. Because then it's like, well, yeah, they got the part, they gave it a shot, they weren't that good, and they didn't work that much afterwards because they just weren't that good.
Right.
Whatever. It's rare that somebody just gets shot after shot after shot after shot after shot if they're not that good.
Yeah. Did I hear correctly that you were maybe in the running to be Star-Lord in the Avengers?
Yeah, I didn't.
That would have been a nice one.
It's funny. I do think about that. I saw Chris Pratt in the waiting room at that audition, actually, as I was walking out. I didn't feel that good about the audition. I guess I know James Gunn called me in because he's a Sonny fan, and and he wanted the role to be, I think, he wanted it to be cheeky and funny, and So in that sense, it made sense for me to maybe play that role. But I didn't feel that great about the audition. I felt okay about it, but I walked out, I saw Chris Pratt, and I was like, oh, that guy's perfect for this. I really did. And when he got it, I was like, yeah, I kind of called that, and I thought he was so great in it. But yeah, it's one of those things where like I would never say. Obviously, like if I'd gotten that part, I would have been so excited and I would have done it. But yeah, I think about the other side of it. I've got a wife and I've got 2 kids, and when you hit that level and I love the idea of starring in movies because as an actor you get to just play a wide variety of roles, and if you're in demand you get to decide what you want to do. You know what I mean? And getting to get sent a bunch of scripts and go, do I want to do this? Do I want to do this? I mean, that's the dream because you get to express yourself in so many different ways. But the downside to it is all that travel. I mean, you're traveling all around the world constantly. You're promoting and you're promoting, and
That's what we've had. We've had a few of the Parks and Rec people in here, and they said they have like a group chat, and Chris Pratt's still in it, and they're always trying to get together, and a lot of them do get together very often. And Chris is always replying like, "Can't. I'm in Japan. Can't." I'm
Yeah.
here." And he's like, "I'll be home I'll be home for like 22 hours in LA. If anyone can meet up with me, then that's great."
yeah.
But he's
Consumes you,
very,
you know?
very rarely around.
That
Yeah,
basically becomes your family.
Exactly. That's that part of it seems tough. I'm not sure how I would handle something like that. I mean, I think people just think of all the glitz and the glamour and the fame and the money and all this kind of stuff, and it's great, but it's just so much coming at you.
Yeah. I would
yeah.
imagine that's also a difficult. You're talking about how it's shedding kind of the comedy, but I imagine shedding the superhero image would be tough too. To go to
Probably.
a real drama from that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the movie business it's all like indie films and superhero movies, so
Right.
it's kind of one or the other. So I don't know.
Wild, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel really fortunate to be in the position that I'm in. I mean, I really just I'm so proud of what we did on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and what we're continuing to do, and then falling into this AP Bio gig was
great.
just like.
I mean, it was
I don't know.
It's a perfect like transition in a way because it's like similar, and you still get like your fans still kind of get what they expect, but it's a whole new character for you. And
Yeah.
in this season, so season 2 is cooking right now, and your character believes he has come up with the recipe, the formula for happiness.
Yeah.
4 things here, which this is very apropos for us on this podcast to try to figure out how to be happy. So the 4 things: 1, do a physical job so that you can see the results, the fruit of your labor.
Yeah.
2, mundane celebrations to help distract you from death. 3, eat sugary, fatty, and salty things.
Yeah.
And 2, find someone within a 20-mile radius of you to procreate so that your legacy lives on. That's it, guys. I don't know what's so fucking hard. Just do the 4 things.
I don't know. I mean, I certainly have had friends who, life is so simple to them. It's just like, go to work and hopefully you do a job that you enjoy. And, I got a buddy who's a horticulturist, and he just grows plants and he loves it. He loves plants. And as the card says that you just read, he gets to enjoy the fruits, the results of his labor as he watches his beautiful plants grow. And then he's got 2 kids and he goes fishing, and life's pretty simple. It's those of us out there that are super ambitious that are unhappy.
Fucking ambition,
It-
man.
it
It's
kinda
such a
reminds
bitch.
me of,
Such a bitch.
Like you just saying when he likes to go fishing, it kind of reminds me of the guy from Office Space.
Yes.
Where it's like, what would you do if you had $1 million? Like 2 chicks at the same time. Like really doesn't have many aspirations bigger than that. Like are those your 4 as well? Like what are Glenn Howerton's for? Not Jack's.
I mean, I tend to be sort of somewhat unsatisfied, which I think in a good way is and the good way of looking at it is that it keeps the fire in the belly, and it keeps me creative, and it keeps me like trying new things. But the downside to it is that it's true, if you're not careful, nothing's ever enough. And I think that really is the key to unhappiness is that you think that once you hit a certain level or you make a certain amount of money, that then you're going to be happy. And I think when a lot of people get to that place, their dreams actually do come true. Let's take a movie star, for instance. They're like, I'm a movie star. I did it. And I'm making all this money and I'm in all these movies and I get all this adulation. And then they're like, oh, but I'm still not happy. What the fuck is going on here? Like, it's not enough. And so, so then you try to get more, but there is no more. That's sort
It's
of
not
it.
a thing that more fixes.
It's not a thing that more
You need something
yeah.
different, not just more of what you have, even if what you have seems great.